friends. Okay, hey, now we're live. Okay, all right. Well, then we are all going to hang out, and we will just mute ourselves as we see fit. But welcome all. Thank you for. Oop. Look, we're getting like an echo here because we had YouTube pulled up trying to figure out how to comment on things. So welcome to not our 42nd annual event here, but this is the celebration for the April Perennials 42nd iteration, which is pretty fantastic. We have a ridiculously cool night planned for you tonight, and we're all going to be on the stream here live, and it's going to be a fun time. But we have a basic agenda that we're going to work through. We're going to welcome you and talk to you a little bit, and then we are going to open it up to some student readers and really cool humans that are going to read excerpts of their work and or their poetry for your listening pleasure. Then we are going to listen from the ridiculously and amazingly cool, righteous human being, Courtney Marie. They're going to talk to us a little bit about their awesomeness. And then we are going to reveal to you what place you received in this. This is a reader copy, huh? Yeah, we got it. Ooh, you like it. And so we are going to do that, and then we're going to close out. But that is our basic agenda. Again, we say thank you so much for your patience as we work through some of the technical difficulties. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Jacob Arnold. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I serve in the English department. And I think that poetry is really neato.
I am Lauren Sullivan. My pronouns are she, her, and they, and I also work in the English department, and I am really big about fiction. Poetry is great, but, you know, our lives are stories.
But we function really well in harmony with one another because,
Yes.
you know, words are great. But we are going to get started tonight by doing some acknowledgments and thanking some people that need to be thanked. First and foremost, we want to thank every single writer who submitted anything to our competition. We had, since we've been doing this, the largest cache of submissions that we've ever experienced. We had to enlist extra readers, and you produced the biggest book. It was so thick and amazing that we had to like give it to other people to print out because we were going to use a perfect bind this time because the staples couldn't make it through the stack of awesomeness that you created. And so first of all, we just like to celebrate alongside everybody who submitted. We had a really, really tough time trying to figure out how to pass out the limited amount of awards and accolades that we had. And that was a really cool process. Getting to experience your work, you fearless writers, was a really cool highlight to 2022. And so thank you to everybody who submitted their work. Aside from that, thank you to all of the faculty readers. And so now all of your work is read by faculty members here at North Central Texas College. And so I want to thank each and every one of you who spent a ridiculous amount of time reading the work, moving through it, making your comments, and helping us figure out how we were going to award the awards that we were giving this year. And then we want to thank all of the donors and the people that make the financial. Yes, you heard it correctly. If you got first, second, or third place, along with a contributor copy that's going to come in the mail and a special little gift from our department, you are also going to be rewarded monetarily for your writing, which is pretty cool. And so we want to thank you to all of the donors and specifically to the English department. Shout out to Dr. Gregory. Thank you for all of your support and for everything that you do to help out inside this whole process that we try to build and make as authentic as we possibly can. All right, did I miss anybody thanking them?
I think that is all.
Okay.
All the thank yous.
And if we did miss you, know that we love you. And it's just because everything is up in the air. We're going to go ahead and blame 2020. It feels good to blame 2020 for things. So we're going to blame 2020 if we forgot to thank you for something. But really and truly, we want to thank everybody who is a part of this, no matter how small you think your role is. Thank you so much for the help and for the time that you gave, for the money that you gave, for the effort that you gave, for the words that you gave writers. We have 10 different categories that we use. And we reach out to students and people in Oklahoma and Texas. We have award recipients tonight, all the way from 6th grade up to, adult non-professional writers. I believe that we had all the way, so that was from 10 years old to 73-year-old creators who submitted their work, which is pretty stinking cool, if you ask me. And so thank you to everyone who was a part of it. Okay, I think the thank you portion is over, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on to our readers. And so tonight we have some readers here. We have Colton Dillard, we have Trent Juarez, we have Callista Stominov, and Remy Jenkins, and they are going to read us either an excerpt or their poem in its entirety. And so we have the list here down. We didn't get to go over it backstage, but Callista, if you would do us the honor of reading your work first. All of these are going to be published in the April Perennial. And so if you'd like a copy, you can contact me or Lauren, and we can make sure that you get one of these. And like I said, all the contributors are going to get one, but this is work that's going to be a part of our journal this year. So with no further ado, Callista.
Okay, can you hear me? Perfect. All right, so this is called These Things Are Serious, by the way. I just want to go to sleep, but a wasp has managed to sneak in. A window, a door, a portal. At this point, I can only wonder. I once found a sunflower with multiple faces, a mutated maiden with that part in the center almost completing a full circle. Different she may be, but maybe that makes her all the more beautiful. I have a cat who likes to hunt. There are coyotes in our neighborhood, so we keep the cats inside. But still, he goes on the prowl, running down the stairs, chasing a mouse filled with catnip. I've had a backyard light post that I just installed. It didn't need direct power, only solar. For years, it has patiently sat, tucked away in a garage corner, because I have no electrician skills. I like to separate my aloe vera plants, putting them in multiple pots so they don't get crowded. Now, I probably have 80 aloe vera plants.
Fantastic, Callista. I wish that you could hear the resounding applause that's in my mind right now and all of the celebration.
Incredible.
We will celebrate
Such a
you with
great
our
poem.
celebration hands. Thank you so much for reading your poem tonight for us.
Thank you for asking me to.
Absolutely. All right, Trent Juarez, you're up, my friend.
Well, hello, everyone. Really humbled and grateful to be here. Callista, thanks so much for that. That was really enjoyable. You have a turn of phrase that I definitely need to work on. So congrats on that. It's awesome. So that being said, this is recognition. Thighs on this chair, plush like wood. As do all trees, I sit and bow around my center with solemnity, the hidden solidity of breathful bodies. Stubborn puddles of sight burst before, no, within, where mind meets mine. Nothing that I am. Beginning again, standing and taken up by space, I shudder with wind-blown grass while the ground underfoot recognizes her departed and beloved blade.
Again, I wish you could hear it. Yeah, there you go. You get some
Yes.
snaps. Getting some snaps. Getting some celebration. Beautiful, Trent.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Remy Jenkins, hit us with it, my friend.
Okay, mine's a poem. It's called Dreaming a Little Dream. Okay. Dreaming is believing. I feel at peace at the circus. Fun has begun and it's time to explore. Games, giggles, and gooey snacks. Animals wearing tights and tiny tutus. I take a trip to the circus. Smells, sights, and screams. I don't want to wake up. I stay asleep and set to see. My friends and I spend more time and pretend. Excitement fills throughout my body. Smells of buttery popcorn and sweet cotton candy fills through my nose and brings a smile on my face with it. Such smells and sights to see, such little time. We get to our final destination. It is almost time to wake up and shape up. I want to stay forever, however, I must dream another. I feel at peace at the circus. Floating aimlessly and steady at sea. See you later, my friends. This has been fun. I will cherish the good times forever. See you again in my next adventure as you're invited whenever.
And the alliteration of that S is so good in that one. Love it. I love it. Thank you. Celebration hands. Well done. And last but certainly not least, Colton Dillard, will you hit us with an excerpt of your piece, my friend?
Yes, thank you. As you may see, my name is Colton Dillard. I entered the expository essay portion, and my excerpt is the first introductory paragraph. It's called Pirates of the Caribbean, Hopes, Dreams, and Imagination. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. We pillage, we plunder, we rifle and loot, drink up me hearties yo ho. Singing this iconic tune throughout the classic Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland, lifelike animatronics create an impressive display of thrilling pirate adventures. After Walt Disney established a universal legacy for himself with the revolutionary production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, he continued to build his entertainment empire. Transforming the industry of animation, Disney's desired to do the same to the amusement park. So he built Disneyland. Behind the scenes of a child's dream park, Disney put together a playground for the creative people of the world. These people who came to work on Disney's magnificent wonder were named Imagineers. Constantly working with this imaginative team, Walt Disney encouraged his creative crew to design for the future. Reaching back to an old concept of Walt's, Imagineers brought forth an ambitious pirate voyage. Sadly, this original design would be the last attraction in which Walt Disney was involved. Over 30 years after the Pirates of the Caribbean came to Disneyland, his company, Disney, would produce a film honoring the classic ride. Because he possessed a natural vision for what his innovations could lead to in the future, Disney was always a step ahead.
Fantastic. I love it. I love how unique the perspective was in that essay. That was one of the reasons we wanted to celebrate it. Give them that celebration. Yeah, if you're at home watching, clap in your house and, wake somebody up in the next room. Readers, we want to thank you so much for showing up and sharing your work with us on this digital platform. We wish that we could be in person so we could, high five or fist bump or, some new way in which we can celebrate now that the pandemic is happening. People have been doing the elbows, right? You've seen that elbow thing. So whatever it would be, but to just celebrate your work, you are the reason that, we get excited to do this every single year. And you are what makes this work so worthwhile. Reading your work makes me happy. I know that's a simple statement, but it's really nice. Like, it's a good feeling to have as I get to look through and I thumb through and, Lauren and I, we read all of the submissions and there's never a moment where I feel sad or disgruntled.
Yep.
While I'm reading this work. And so thank you so much. Selfishly. Yeah, it is. That's a good word. It's a joy. So we celebrate you again. One more time. Yay! And again, I wish that you could hear everybody clapping at home. But we will transition now to our guest speaker. I first met Courtney Marie in their house, and they taught me extensively about zines. We met through a mutual friend named Sebastian Paramo, and I was introduced to the Spiderweb Salon. And I didn't quite know what to expect. But one of the main reasons I wanted Courtney Marie to come talk with you all tonight is because there is never a moment when I've been around them that I haven't felt two different things. Number one is extremely welcome and safe to be myself. And number two is encouraged to create. And I don't know about you, but as an adult who likes to make stuff and is a little odd, those two feelings don't always, come out all the time. They're not like a natural state of existence for me. I've never seen somebody build a stronger and more close-knit community of creatives than Courtney Marie has constructed. I feel so excited when I go to any event that Spiderweb is throwing that Courtney Marie is a part of. I have seen people celebrate it at all levels of creativity, from the most rudimentary poem read to the most brilliantly orchestrated performance, whether it's a funeral parade or dirge, whether it's a fake wedding on the square, it doesn't matter what it is. What they create is community and creation itself. And so I wanted them to come talk to you tonight because I hope and I know that you will feel just as excited to be you and to create and to find some community to attach yourself to that encourages you to be yourself and to make cool stuff and to ship it to the rest of the world. So with no further ado, Courtney Marie, the floor is yours, my friend. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for that incredible intro. I feel honored to be here. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Courtney Marie, and it's my pleasure to be joining you for Nctc's Creative Writing Awards ceremony. This is the first time I've ever live streamed into something like this, so I hope everybody can hear me. Am I good? Yeah? Okay, awesome. I'm excited for all the winners and grateful for the opportunity to speak to all of you a little bit about creativity and the influence it's had on my life. Like many of you, I love to write. Or is it, I need to write? I hope somebody else can relate to that. I forget which of those statements is the most true anymore, but either way, I end up feeling compelled to be creative just as one needs to breathe. Ever since I was a child and into adulthood, creativity has become a non-negotiable aspect of my life. I think this is why I was invited to be here talking to you today, or at least I hope it is, because I want to share with you how I've carved space for writing and creativity in my life and in the world. No matter your relationship to your own creativity, I hope you'll be able to take something valuable away from what I'm about to share with you. When I was just a kid, I used to staple paper together to make little books, of which I was both the author and illustrator. As an adult who makes a lot of zines, which are essentially small handmade publications, nothing much has changed, except now I'm the author of 2 real books of poetry, Don't Get Your Hopes Up, and Songs We Used to Dance To, which just was released recently. The release of these books hasn't stopped me from continuing to staple paper together to make handmade zines and booklets in a continued attempt to connect with others, to share my work and find my place in the world. They often tell a little story or poem, and the illustrations these days are usually in the form of collage. I want to read one to you now. This is how you get ants. First, lose your mind. Tell them they are welcome to come over anytime. Write them long letters about the contents of your kitchen cabinets. Keep expired food, buy fresh fruit, dust the rims of drained wine glasses with sugar, get to know their mothers, and send them chocolates on their birthdays. Cook but forget to eat. Take a lot of walks. Leave all the windows open. Pour apple juice on the sills. Call them and ask them what they think about your new poem. Tell them to be honest. Tell them it might rain. Build a house right on top of a massive colony somewhere in the desert and let the faucets drip. Go on vacation. Leave out candy wrappers. Consider buying a carton of poison just in case things get out of hand. Meanwhile, give them nicknames and joke around. Ants actually have a very good sense of humor. I love writing poetry, but words on paper isn't my only love. I also love trying to do and make a little bit of everything all the time. Painting, sculpture, pottery, knitting, puppet making, cross-stitching, I have dabbled in it all. If I could take you on a tour of the room I'm in right now, you would find papier-mâché birds, a dozen typewriters, stashes of clay, beads, and yarn, an origami chandelier, and pages of books, letters, and notes all strung up together. I'm not a hoarder, but I'm very much a maximalist. The spaces I inhabit always tend to be a living museum of work, both by myself and friends near and far. I have a tendency to gather things like a crow: pretty rocks, fancy paper, odds and ends, poetic headlines clipped out of magazines. It's an ever-growing collection. I've always been like this and have stopped apologizing for it. After all, isn't being an artist to also be a little bit eccentric? As an artist, I'm also the co-founder of an art collective called Spiderweb Salon. To clarify, when we chose the word salon, we were not thinking of haircuts, but rather the 19th century version, a gathering of elegant and talented guests under the guidance of an inspired host, an informal exchange of ideas, a place to share new work and receive feedback from peers. When we chose the word spiderweb, we truly had no idea how apt the name would be as the web grew and grew, the threads intersecting, our lives and art becoming intertwined. The collective has existed now in a variety of iterations, sustained by a menagerie of creatives and the community that surrounds us. The pandemic definitely changed things for us, but we're still trucking. And I actually just hosted a show a few weeks ago. It felt like old times. If I slip into past tense while talking about this, it's because sometimes it feels like the pandemic stripped us of what we held most dear: the time and space to be together, creating new things. Because it's been so long since things felt normal, it's sometimes difficult for me to hold the idea of what we had in the present. That's just a little disclaimer. So let me tell you how what started in the hot summer of 2012 as an excuse for a few friends to get together turned into something beyond my wildest dreams. It's become a collection in and of itself, a community of over 100 artists of all mediums: writers, readers, musicians, painters, zinesters, performers, bakers, and dreamers from wildly different backgrounds and with varying interests and talents. Over time, we became more powerful together, eventually ending up with an exhibit representing the work of 50 of our artists at the Dallas Museum of Art in 2019. How did we end up there? The first event was small on purpose. My co-founder and I asked 10 friends who we knew worked on their art in relative solitude if they would be willing to share their work at a show. Each writer or musician was welcome to invite one guest and was given 6 minutes on stage to share their newest creation. After the show, everyone wanted to know when the next one would be and if they could be involved. From there, we started hosting monthly events that stretched into including drama and performance art, as well as visual art, which led to publishing zines full of writing and art, which led to new collaborations with other artists and artist groups, which led to an ever-expanding roster of creatives that have joined us over the years. Besides hosting regular showcases, we also started putting together skill-sharing workshops, teaching everything from watercolor painting to poetry to figure drawing to puppetry. We started 2 recording projects, one where we captured poems and stories to broadcast on the radio, one a compilation album of music recorded in a professional studio that was eventually pressed to vinyl. Where we saw a need in the community, we did everything we could to help out, from volunteering to fundraising. Over the years, we raised many thousands of dollars for Denton Friends of the Family, the local animal shelter, DMAC, the Tea Fund, Pride Denton, and many other organizations. We made art and wrote poems that drew attention to important issues, advocating for causes we care about. We started a mental health initiative to provide therapy scholarships for members of our community, as well as a weekly peer-led support group that has met every Tuesday since before the pandemic. After hundreds of shows and projects, after all this learning and creating together, in 2019, we applied to host an exhibit at the Dallas Museum of Art. The idea that I conceived was both simple in concept and complex in execution. We would outfit 3 rotary phones with recordings so folks could dial a number and hear a poem, story, or song on the other line. There were 50 recordings in all, each one riffing on identity and based on a piece of artwork in the museum. We not only pulled it off, but we hosted a reception that brought the most people the museum's Creative Connection Center had ever seen at one time. It was one of our biggest achievements to date, and luckily the timing was right just before the pandemic changed everything. With Spiderweb Salon, we've somehow managed to gather together people the way my studio has become populated with eclectic things. Every person who is a part of it brings their own unique perspective, style, and artistry to the table. This gathering, connecting of folks happened over time, gradually but intentionally, born out of an inclination to look for and make beauty in the world. I want to pause for another little poetry break. This is one that I wrote when thinking about Spiderweb and the world we want to create with one another. It's published in my new book, Songs We Used to Dance To. It's called A Better World Was Possible. People are not a commodity. Our joy is not for sale. Living isn't easy. Making friends is hard. Our world is fractured. Community care is a revolution. Making art is a powerful tool for change in our hearts, in our lives, in our world. Making art for the people means it cannot be bought or sold. We must invite each other to live. There is more to life than what we've been told. They didn't want us to see a better world was possible. That chosen family could be a framework for revolution. What if we crawled out from under these soiled boots to blink at the sky, to hold each other? What if just being together could change everything? What if a better world was possible? I think the success of Spiderweb Salon has been a number of things. First, we made sure everyone felt included and welcomed. It didn't matter if you never shared your work with anyone before in your life. If you needed a stage, we had it. From the beginning, we knew we wanted to create a community space free from competition and pretentiousness. We wanted to make a place where people felt at home, where belonging and rebellion and community care were values that represented everything we worked for. We wanted to build a space where liberation was possible, where we were able to just be ourselves. Something I've come to realize is that people need things like Spiderweb in their lives. We need a place to gather, even if it isn't actually a place at all. We need a place to thrive, to bring our whole selves to the table. We need each other, most importantly. Community care is a powerful magic. Creativity and community are interlinked. For so many of us, it's difficult to stay inspired and evolve without the support and encouragement and collaboration of others. So why aren't there more community spaces like this? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm willing to speculate it has something to do with the lack of profit that's generated by a collective like this. Our culture is obsessed with turning everything into a commodity, into capital, but a space like ours flies under the radar in a lot of ways. Spiderweb isn't an official organization in any capacity, not even a nonprofit. It's entirely run by volunteers. We don't generate income, we don't sell anything besides the occasional zine, and all our shows and merch are pay what you can, even if that means nothing. There's also no pay to play aspect, which is hard to come by in the hustle culture we're constantly bombarded by. We do accept donations via Patreon, which keeps the lights on, so to speak, but nothing else about the collective is based on capitalism or the idea that we need to spend money to benefit from it, or to be a certain type of artist, a certain level of successful, or to be a certain place in our lives in order to participate. We just do it, and the rest follows. There's a purity to it that we aim to maintain by keeping the collective spirit alive in this way. It's about the people, plain and simple. The thing about Spiderweb is no one told us to start this project, and there's been nothing but the love of the people and the creativity and the ingenuity that keeps it going. I think something we forget as we get older, that play is necessary. We forget that we can do things just for the sake of doing them, just because we love to do it. We forget that we don't need permission or approval from others just to try something new. We forget that we are creative beings and that the people we love are too. Spiderweb Salon has allowed us to remember all of this, to make it central to our lives, to make a ritual of connecting and creating with others. And that's all you need to start a community, really. Just a few friends who want to try something new, to support each other in doing what they love. For those of us who organize the collective and work behind the scenes, it's been a huge commitment, a labor of love, but worth every moment of it. I'm going to pivot a little bit because I want to acknowledge that not every moment of a creative life is sunshine. Surely you know this. I certainly do. We all go through periods of darkness where it seems like the muse has left us. The pandemic left a lot of us feeling burnt out, uninspired, and lost, and I think it's important to acknowledge that too. That brings me to another poem I want to read to you, a poem I wrote for the project Spiderweb had at the DMA, based on a painting I found in the museum of a cat that looked especially stressed out. This poem explains how I feel when I'm at my least creative and inspired. The death of the party. I ghost on every party before I get there, a bundle of frayed nerves beneath my skin. I've picked up worrying. I worry all the time, broken thoughts on a loop. I stay busy so my mind doesn't have time to kill me. These days, I identify as something in between. I identify as anxiety attack, a high-functioning breakdown, a cat on its last life, something I can't yet articulate, but my chest is full of doom. The death of the party. Can barely leave the house, can barely watch the news. I am sick like the world is sick. I miss people who have forgotten me, myself most of all. Sometimes I'm afraid maybe I'm the ghost and everybody knows, is afraid to tell me. I think it's important to remember there are a lot of things in our creative lives that may not look like they are productive or inspired in the way we usually think about creativity, but that are just as important to our well-being as a writer or artist. The big thing is rest. I know it's sometimes very hard to do, but we need to be aware of when our bodies and minds need a break. We need to take time to recover from the ins and outs of life. Rest can take time, and it can look different for everyone, but I promise you it's a necessary step in the creative cycle. This is something I've had to keep in mind a lot lately as I go through my own creative drought, brought on by the pandemic, health issues, burnout, and the general confusion of what to do next after releasing a book. I have to remember there's so much of life that lends itself to creativity, even if at face value it doesn't seem like it. For me, taking walks is revitalizing and inspiring. Reading books and consuming media, even TV shows or video games, opens the door to new ideas and stories that invigorate the mind. Spending quality time with loved ones is just as important to my creative life as sitting down at the typewriter ready to start a new project. Conversation and laughter are invaluable parts of living life, especially when you're feeling less than your best, and having someone to lean on is everything. Remember that we all go through rough patches, but if you're easy on yourself, if you listen to yourself and what you need in that moment, you'll be back at it before you know it. Nothing could make this all more apparent to me than being a part of a huge group of creatives, watching each person and their unique cycle and struggles and successes and creativity, and noticing how that affects us as a whole unit. It's undoubtedly been a time of uncertainty, of needing rest, of needing to nurture one another through hard times. But we have each other, and that makes the struggle a little easier. And isn't that why we strive for community to begin with? Isn't there great comfort in knowing you're not doing it alone? In conclusion, I hope you're able to find your own spiderweb, somewhere where you can connect with others, shine as a creative, and take comfort when you need it. If you can't find it, maybe it's up to you to build it. Reach out to those around you and start something new. It can be a writing group, a zine project, a book club, a performance troupe, or, if you're like us, all of the above. There are no limitations to what you can do when you have each other to lean on. On my best days, nothing can stop me from stapling together pieces of paper and writing poems, but the people in my life, those I work and play with, are often the reason I keep going during the hard times. If I could wish one thing for everyone, it would be to have a community like this. Be excellent to each other, be there for each other, be the open and creative minds we need in the world. I want to leave you with one last poem. It's okay to always be becoming. Not every day can be a party. When you are broken, it takes time to regenerate. Whether you picture yourself a sprout or a gardener or a terrace in full bloom, you deserve water and light. It is okay to always be becoming. Today is not yesterday, and tomorrow will be different. Remember, there is purpose in seeking purpose, in planting a seed and watching it grow. Like blossoms after a hard winter, your joy will rise from the darkness and multiply. If you give yourself a chance, you too will have a garden and 1,000 new reasons to throw a party. Thank you so much.
Yay! Thank you so much, Courtney Marie.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I think that is probably the most apt advice that we could receive right now in these times. So there's nothing else to add. Do you have anything to add to that?
Other than it was amazing and like brightened my whole semester, all I can say is thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can find Courtney Marie's work online. I highly suggest this book. I read it in a sitting, and I'm now chewing back through them again because it is incredible. Absolutely. I know I was searching for words. It's helping me put words to very specific feelings that I have had over the past 2.5 years, which is one of the most brilliant things a poet can do, is to help somebody explicate how they felt about something through expression and feelings and thoughts and so images and everything. So I highly recommend it. I think the lights are going off, so we're going to have to wave our arms like Kermit for a moment. Okay.
Is it working?
It's going to happen. Yay,
Okay.
we did it. Okay. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. Please, please, please check it out. Check out Spiderweb, join the Patreon, start your own, like Courtney Marie said, find a way in which to create and support one another while you're creating. Fantastic. That's more than I could have ever asked for. I love it. Now it's the part that many of you have been waiting on, I think, that are out there in the digital world we can't see. We're looking all at one another, but hopefully you're out there watching still. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to read off. So if you didn't know, we did not announce the places. We just announced in these letters that you won something, that you were going to be honored. And so Lauren and I are going to take turns, and we're going to read off the winners, and we're going to tell you what place you've received. And so before we get to that, a little note on names. We're going to do the best that we can. If we do mess up something, please send us a phonemic outline of your name, and we will correct it, and we will make it better, and we will never mess it up again. And names are the sweetest sounds on our ears. I think Dale Carnegie was right. And so if we do mess that up, we sincerely apologize, but know that we love you dearly regardless. Okay. So do you want to start, or you want me to?
You can start.
Okay.
And I will go
This
after.
is the Andy and Emily Clement Short Story Contest. Our honorable mention was Chloe Stokes with their work, The Rocking Chair. Our third place was Samantha Owen with their work, His Book. Our second place was Alexia Blatchke with their work, It Was Just a Prank, I Swear, which I love that title. Our first place for the Andy and Emily Clement short story was Madison Townsend with their work, The Survival Challenge. Congratulations, my friends.
All right. So this is the Aspiring Poet Contest. Our honorable mention, we had 2 honorable mentions here. Our first one is Abigail J. Bartley with their poem, The Muse of Narcissism. Another honorable mention, Remy Jenkins with their poem, Dreaming a Little Dream, which was amazing. Our third place was Chimara Okiki with their poem, Consumption. Our second place was Danielle Clark with their poem, Broken. And our first place was Callista Staminoff with their poem, These Things Are Serious, by the way.
Yay! For the Brad Dill Memorial Short Story Contest, we also had 2 honorable mentions. We told you it was very difficult to choose all of
Yeah,
these.
it was.
We went back and forth on whether or not we were going to have like 18 honorable mentions in every category, but
We had to we have to cut it down. It was very hard.
So first honorable mention goes to Arabella Costellis with their work, As Daylight Dies. And if you can hear the train in the background and it drowns out something, we'll say it again maybe, and it'll be better. The second honorable mention was Daniela Cantu with their work, The Doorbell. Third place was Kerrigan Furland with their work, Happy Birthday to Me. Second place was Lena Wynn, with Orange Factory Worker. And first place was Crystal Aguirre with their work, The Gears. Congratulations, friends.
Congratulations. For the Garland Ray Wallace Poetry Contest, we had 2 honorable mentions. Our first one was Andrea De Freitas with Moisturize. Our second honorable mention was Lynn Peters with their poem, Dad's Poem. Our third place was Molly Jessup with Pages Left. Second place was Michaela Lagana with Drained. And our first place was Trent Juarez with Recognition. Congratulations.
Yay! For the Gerald McDaniel Memorial Short Story Contest, we also had 2 honorable mentions. First was Jesse Brower with their work, The Aligning of Nova and Jet. Second honorable mention goes to Jacob Steele with their work, Purgatory. Third place goes to Noah Rana with their work, What If Tony Sacrificed More Than We Know? Second place goes to Danielle Schofield with their work, The Best Today. And first place goes to Michael Shelton with their work, Not What They Seem. Congratulations.
All right, for the Gifted Pen Poetry Contest, we had 1 honorable mention, Skylar Lako with their poem, The Past, Present, and Future. Third place was Tegan Lindsay with their poem, A Key Will Always Be a Key. Second place was Vivian Smith with their poem, Faded. And first place was Grace Curran with Questions for an Eraser. Congratulations.
Excellent job. For the Keith King Memorial Poetry Contest, third place goes to Mariam Anwar for their work, My Mother's Magnolia. Second place goes to Kate Youngjae Jung with their work, An Open Letter to the Bees. And first place goes to Cassidy Wong with their work, The Stars Were Enough.
All right, congratulations. So our next winners are the Nctc Creative Nonfiction Contest. And our second place was Jacqueline Savannah Anderson with their work, Please Pay at Next Window. And our first place was Waniza Zara with On the Broken Self. Congratulations.
Yay. Then we had the Nctc Expository Writing Contest. Honorable mention was Aaliyah Chaudhry with their work IMF No Strings Attached. The third place was Colton Dillard with Pirates of the Caribbean, Hopes, Dreams, and Imagination. Yay! I realized that was like up in my face. I'm sorry. I was keeping it down here and then now it was right here. And I was pointing to you, Colton, because you're awesome. Second place was Shirley McCullough with their essay, Proliferated Addiction to Social Media and Its Detrimental Effects on the Younger Generation. And first place goes to Addison Smith with their work, How Social Media Allowed the Rise of QAnon. Well done, friends.
Thank you. And our final competition was the Vivian Tomlinson Short Story Contest for Non-Professional Writers. And we had one honorable mention, Carla Harden, with their work Christmas Eve on Planet Earth. Our third place was Mason Marshall with The Desire for Help. Second place was Stephen C. Dollo with The Peanut Farm. And our first place was Alyssa Blalock with The Fall. Congratulations and well done.
Well done, writers. Thank you so much for your work. Go ahead and give yourselves one more round of applause. Celebrate it, laugh, hug the people around you. And if you're watching it by yourself, we're right there. We got you. We got you. It's okay. But that is going to bring us to a close tonight. Once again, Colton, Remy, Callista, Trent, thank you so much for sharing your work. Courtney Marie, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your work. Thank you all who are watching this live. Thank you, Jake Laughlin, for running this backstage for us. We really appreciate you. Thank you, English faculty. Thank you to every teacher and parent and guardian and friend who encouraged someone to write. Go out and create something incredible, my friends. Never stop making. We love you. We respect you. Have a fantastic night. Thank you all.
Goodbye.